Aloha, this is Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a very special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. Now, I recently attended 2019 Comic-Con Honolulu that was held from August 2nd to August 4th. I got some incredible interviews. Let's get started.
Aloha guys, this is Jason from Hawaii. I'm here with legendary Tom DeFalco. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm doing terrific, Jason. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is this the first time to the islands?
This is my first time to Hawaii, and you know, I've only been here for a few days, but I am loving it.
That's great. Okay, I have two questions for you. You're editor-in-chief on the Infinity Gauntlet. How did that come about?
It was a very easy process. Jim Starlin showed up one day and said, "Hey, I have an idea for a story." And I said, "All right, Jim, what's your idea?" And he kind of pitched the basics of Infinity Gauntlet, and he got about halfway through it, and I said, "Okay, Jim, you don't have to say anything else. We're going to do it." And that was sadly all of my involvement. I'd like to take total credit for everything, but no, it's Jim Starlin is a genius. You know, he came up with it all. He did it all. He wrote it brilliantly, and he wrote the sequels brilliantly. So I got to give all the credit to Jim Starlin, even though I'd like to steal some for myself, but I can't.
I'm going to give that credit to you, man, because you're the one that said yes.
Well, when you're dealing with somebody like Starlin, it's easy to say yes.
And then how does it feel that you approving the Infinity Gauntlet, that it literally created the Marvel Cinematic Universe? That's in my opinion.
Well, I don't know if it created the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think the guys, at Marvel who are doing these movies are doing such a fabulous job. From the time I saw the first one, the Iron Man movie,
yes.
That movie blew me away, and so many of the other films. I am just a total fanboy. I love these films. They have that hoo-ha, fun and games mentality that I love. They care about the characters. There's emotion.
Yes.
There's action.
Yes.
Action and angst in the mighty Marvel manner. I just love the work that these people are doing. Again, I'd like to steal credit for something there, but I can't. So I give them total credit. They have done such a fabulous job. As a comic book fan, we are living in a real golden age.
We are. Mr. DeFalco, thank you very much for your time. It's been an honor interviewing you. Thank you.
My pleasure, Jason. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Aloha. Aloha, guys. This is Jason from Hawaii. I'm here with Agnes Garbowska.
Yep, Garbowska.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry, Garbowska.
No worries.
Okay.
It could be a little hard to say.
So, Agnes, is this the first time to the islands?
Actually, it is not. I have come only this island twice on vacation before, but this is my first time getting invited to a show in Hawaii, so I'm so excited to be here.
Okay. How's the convention going so far?
Oh, it's wonderful. Everyone's been super, super nice. I think this show gets bonus points for how sweet everyone has been coming out today, and they've been super supportive and lots of kids. So I love shows with lots of kids coming by.
That's really good. I'm going to keep continuing on. How did you get into comics?
I always was a fan of comics. I got into comics at a very early age when I was trying to learn English because I'm originally from Poland, and comics really helped me a lot because I wanted to know what the characters were saying. It was actually not something I thought I wanted as a career because I thought I wanted to be an animator till I went to school for animation, realized how much I hated animating, which actually happens to a lot of people apparently. And through that I realized I love telling stories, and then I started realizing, why not comic books? I'm meeting all these amazing creators at shows, and I started asking them about their careers, and I'm like, you know what, this might be for me. Little did I know at the time I was joining one of the hardest, most competitive industries, but I absolutely love working in comics. I've been working in comics for about 12 to 14 years now, so it's been quite some time.
What was your first comic that you read, or the first comic book series you read?
One of the first comics, I don't remember which one, but I know it was an X-Men issue in the 90s. It was gifted by one of my mom's friends who wanted me to encourage me to read, and I got turned on to X-Men quite quickly. I love the Archie comics because I got them at the grocery store afterwards because I'm like, what is this comic book business? And from there I actually went into Supergirl, which was me actually raiding one of my friend's brother's basement collection. He went off to college, and whenever he was not home, we may or may have not gone and did some reading in his basement. I don't think he ever found out, but that actually got me into Supergirl. It was the cover where she's holding the skateboard, and that was the first comic I pulled out of his pile, and I was like, who is she? I want to know everything about her, and that really made me a DC fan after that.
Now, I'm going to ask you, what are you working on right now?
What I can talk about is I am currently working on Care Bears. Woohoo! We got launched in July, so last month, and it is super fun. It's going to be 3 issues. It really is all age, and Grumpy Bear is quite featured in the issues I'm working on, and let's just say a punk version of Grumpy might appear there. And it was also announced recently that I am working on the new style of DC superhero girls. I had the pleasure of working in the old style, and now I get to work in the new style. The first issue comes out in October, and that's Yancey's art, because we all love Yancey and his amazing art, and my issue is the second one, and it will be out next year, and it's called Powerless.
That's really great. I'm going to continue on. Before we did started the interview, you said you are now correct me if because I'm trying to remember the Black Lanterns.
Yes, I am a fan of the Black Lanterns. I know it might seem a little unusual, but it was actually the Black Lantern run that got me into reading the Green Lantern comics, because I never picked up any issues of Green Lantern before that, but I've always been a huge zombie fan, even when I was a little kid. I was, mind you, a very strange, weird kid who loved horror, zombies, and all sorts of things that go bump in the night. And when I found out that there were zombies in Green Lantern universe, I'm like, wait guys, what is this? And I picked up the series, The Blackest Night, and it got me hooked. And after that, I actually started reading the Green Lantern comics, which if it wasn't for the Blackest Night run, I would have never picked them up. So I am definitely a fan of the Black Lanterns, and it did get me more into the Green Lantern universe, so I can't help it. I represent with my ring, too.
And yes, you wear that to... do you wear that all the time or to the convention?
I wear that majority of the time. It is my favorite ring. Unfortunately, it got a little dink because I did slam my finger in the door, but the ring saved me, guys. The ring saved me. I keep meaning to contact the company because he said anytime he wants me to do another one, I just shoot them a message. But they're over in Australia, and that's where I got introduced to it's Guild Jewelry, and they do a lot of the licensed properties for DC Comics' jewelry. And I also have a Wonder Woman ring from them, and yeah, I'm going to get myself a new Blackest Night ring because I apparently am the only girl that gets this size because I have little fingers. So they said they'll make a special order for me because I promote them, and they're such amazing guys. They really love what they do.
I know I'm going to go a little bit off the questions. So you said that Blackest Night hooked you to the Green Lanterns. Have you ever met Jeff Johns?
Oh, yes. I've known Jeff almost my entire career. I met him... oh my gosh, now it's been well over 10 years ago, and it was when he was working with Francis Manipul, and he was such an amazing guy. I think he's super talented, very sweet, and I'm a huge fan of his writing and him as a person in general.
At Comic-Con Honolulu right now, we have, I'm going to try to pronounce her name correctly, Rose McGyver and Ross Marquand. Did you get a chance to meet them since you're a zombie fan?
Oh, I actually have not. I've just been mainly... I'm one of those that doesn't leave her table a lot, especially during the day when the kids are coming by. I try my best not to be away from the table, so I did not have the pleasure of meeting them, which of course I would love to just because they're in the genre I love. I heard they're very sweet too, so maybe we'll see. But as of right now, my focus is making sure all the kiddies know where I am and giving them the pretty art.
Any upcoming projects, like any Kickstarters or anything else?
Well, In May, DC Superhero Girl Spaced Out came out. Speaking of Green Lanterns, it features the introduction of Jessica Cruz into the DC Superhero Girl universe. It was with Shea Fontana, so it was in the old style, and it involves her developing herself as a superhero. So she doesn't have the confidence, and to date, I think it is one of my favorite issues because you see her grow as a person, and she reminds me of myself. And I think a lot of people at their journey discovering their talents and how to use them for basically for good. So definitely that just came out in May. So DC Superhero Spaced Out. I mentioned Care Bears, and I mentioned checking out the new DC Superhero Girls coming out later this year from Yancy and I. So definitely projects to look forward to, and I can't announce anything else, but there are other amazing things might be a brewing.
And then Jessica Cruz, is she one of your favorite Green Lanterns?
Now she definitely is. Once I became introduced to her, I started reading more about her, and I watched whatever the newest movie that featured her as well, the animated one, and I just love the kind of person she is. I think she's very grounded, and like I said, she reminds me of me and other people. Just she doesn't have the confidence to be a superhero, but she really has it within her, and I like those kind of characters. They just feel so relatable, and she has a great personality and cool powers.
Where's your next convention appearance?
My next convention appearance will be at New York Comic Con. But if you're in the LA area and you follow me online, I might be making some Care Bear appearances around the LA area once those are finalized. So please look forward to that. But yeah, New York Comic Con, I'm very excited for that.
And then social platforms, where can people follow you on?
Pretty much anywhere. It's just Agnes Garbowska on Twitter or Instagram. Tumblr as well. On Facebook, it's agnesgarbowska.art. Make sure to follow my art page. But yeah, follow me there. Just look for my name. It's easy to find.
Agnes, thank you very much for your time. Any last words?
Just be awesome, everyone. And remember, be nice to each other. It's the most important thing. It might sound lame, but it's so true.
Agnes, thank you very much. Aloha.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Aloha. All right. 3, 2, 1. Aloha, guys. This is Jason from Hawaii. I'm here at Comic-Con Honolulu with superstar Mark Brooks.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, you dude, man, your cover art is incredible.
Thank you very much.
No, yes, it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time to the islands for you guys, right?
It is, yeah. We've never been to Hawaii before. I always wanted to come, so it was a good excuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you guys like the islands so far?
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be. For some reason, I always picture Hawaii being very, very small, and it's actually a pretty good-sized island. It takes about an hour to get from one side to the other if a little bit of traffic. But no, it's gorgeous. The weather's amazing. There's a smell to the air here. It's sweet. It's really nice. I like it.
If you guys come back, you guys got to go to the outer islands. It's a lot better, beautiful. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. We want to see Maui and the Big Island, and so hopefully, next time we come, we get a chance to do a little more traveling around. Yeah.
I know we're on the convention floor, so I'm going to continue on. What was your first comic that you read?
The first comic I ever read was a copy of Uncanny X-Men. I want to say it was issue 274, though I could be wrong. But it was the first issue. Psylocke was in the X-Men. It's back when she was British, with the pink frilly outfit, and it was Wolverine and Sabretooth. It was Sabretooth trying to kill Psylocke, and Wolverine trying to stop him, and it was just them fighting across the Westchester School for Gifted Youngsters, just fighting across the campus, and it was really a great issue. It lasted 2 issues, and I was hooked from that point on.
And then, when did you decide to become an artist?
I don't know if I ever made a conscious decision to become an artist. I just know that every kid draws, just like we all did. At some point, every kid stops, and I just never did because I loved it so much. I really enjoyed doing it. I did realize there was a point in middle school, because I was never much into sports or anything like that, but I realized that I had a knack for drawing, and I was in class, and there was this really popular cartoon character. I can't remember who it was, but I drew that cartoon character, and I really, really impressed the popular kids in the class that I could draw this character. and I realized it was kind of like it became my currency. Like other kids, like I said, had sports or played music or something like that, but I could impress people with drawing. And when you're a kid looking for an outlet or looking for your place in that youth society, finding a niche that like that was really important to me. So I think that helped drive me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to still continue on because I see a crowd lining up at your table. Any upcoming projects you want to promote right now?
Well, I'm the cover artist on Captain Marvel right now. We have a new Captain Marvel series coming out soon that I can't speak too much about, but it is super duper cool.
Okay.
And I'm going to be the cover artist on that. I'm really excited about that. Actually, I'll be working on the first cover for that when I get back from Hawaii. Doing some stuff for X-Men, doing a couple of covers for that. I'm doing a line of statues with Sideshow. The Silks, Spider-Gwen, and Spider-Man already came out, and we have a fourth one that is in production and should be solicited soon that I'm really, really proud of. I think for New York Comic Con, I'm going to be doing a piece of artwork for the new Avengers video game, which I'm really excited about. Can't really talk much about it, unfortunately. Just a lot of things. I mean, I've got my hands in a lot of different pots, so yeah.
I'm going to go off subject. So how did you get involved with Sideshow Collectibles?
Actually, this was years ago. I have a friend named Adam Ross who's a sculptor, and he took one of my drawings and he made a sculpture of it. And he took it to San Diego Comic-Con and showed it to the art director at Sideshow. And he was very impressed with it and asked if he could meet with both of us. And so we went and had a meeting with them, and they said, we're doing a line of Marvel statues, and would you be interested in producing some statues? And I said, absolutely. So, the rest is history.
That's pretty impressive. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that. Your impressive covers, especially, correct me if I'm wrong, please. House of X you did, right?
I did. Yes, I did. House of X and Power of X. It was a cover split between the two issues. It was the promo piece originally, and then they ended up using it as the cover.
Any last words to the fans before we wrap up?
No, I'm just, I really appreciate all the support that everyone's given me over the years. And as I always tell anybody that comes by and tells me they like my work, I say, you keep buying it, I'll keep drawing it.
Where's the next appearance for you?
I'll be in Portland for Rose City Comic Con in September, and then I'll be at New York Comic Con, of course, in October, and then in November I'll be going to Tokyo for the Tokyo Comic Con, which I'm really excited about. So that'll be it for the year.
And then where can people follow you on social media?
Oh, all over the place. Under Instagram and Twitter, you can find me under Mark Brooks Art. And under Facebook, you can find me under facebook.com/Art of Mark Brooks.
Mark, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you for your time.
No, thank you. All right, thank you guys. Aloha. Aloha, guys. This is Jason from Hawaii. I'm here at Comic-Con Honolulu with legendary-ish John Romita Jr. John, welcome to the island.
Thanks, Jason. Thank you for having us.
And then also, I know I kind of blew the first part of this, but today is a special day, right, for you guys, for you and Kathy.
My wife, Kathy, and I met 25 years ago today in San Diego, but it was 25 years ago that we actually met. I had a couple of drinks in me, walked up to this very tall, beautiful blonde, because I had the guts. Liquid guts, we call it.
And, you're a very lucky man. You are. You're very blessed.
I am. I'm blessed in a lot of ways. My family, my friends, and my beautiful wife. And my sons. Very proud of everybody.
I'm going to make this short because we're on the convention floor. We know it's crazy.
Okay.
You did the miniseries The Eternals.
That's correct.
When did you find out that they were going to do the movies on The Eternals?
I just found out a short time ago. I had no idea. I think I saw it in an advertisement on television, literally. I didn't know about it even before that in the comics business. And from what I've heard, the stars are fantastic. Yeah. And I don't know who's writing the screenplay. I don't know who's working on it. I know the actresses. I know Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek. And that's all I know. I don't know anything else. Very proud of that. Very proud to be a part of that.
Any hints if they're going to combine from Jack Kirby stuff and Gaiman and your miniseries?
If they're smart, they'll leave me out of it and just put Kirby's stuff and Neil Gaiman stuff. There's a history of great talent working on that. Neil Gaiman is a brilliant writer, and I hope they make him the hinge point in that screenplay. There's the man that should be writing the screenplay.
You're right. He should be writing the screenplay, and they should tap into him.
Agreed. I hope he does. I hope it really works that way.
Okay. Now, Superman Year One came out, if I remember correctly, last month. Right now at Comic-Con Honolulu, Desert Wind Comics and Collectibles has an exclusive cover that you did for them, correct?
That's correct. And I'm very proud to work with Desert Wind, and they're putting out this variant cover product, and I'm very proud of the product itself. It's a great story. Frank Miller and I worked on it along with Danny Mickey and Alex Sinclair, and I think it's a beautiful product. And the second issue comes out in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that one too.
And then I'm going to turn to Chandler. Chandler, I'm going to say thank you very much, Chandler, for making this interview possible.
You're quite welcome. It's an honor to have John here. Bring him to a beautiful location like this, being Hawaii. This is a win-win all the way across the board. He's having fun. We're having fun. The fans are having fun. What's not to be great about this?
Yes. Oh, yes. Now, Chandler, one last question. Where can people get this exclusive cover?
Well, you can actually find the exclusive. It will be online at desertwindenterprises.com in the web store that is there. Or you can always just email me at chandler@desertwindcomics.com.
Chandler, thank you very much. I'm going to continue on. You have been doing a lot of charity work. If I remember correctly, 2002, your niece, I'm going to try to remember her name correctly, Julie.
Jordan. Jordan is her name.
Sorry.
In 2002, Jordan, our niece, was diagnosed with near terminal brain cancer. She had a very, very low chance of survival. Well, now she's graduated from high school, and she's a healthy young lady. Special needs, but she's a healthy young lady. And in 2002, we did a marathon fundraiser for my brother-in-law and his wife, who were going through a horrible time at the time. And we raised money by working 48 hours straight, sketching and signing in Times Square. And then to celebrate the 10th year of her remission, along with Chandler here, Desert Wind Enterprises in Las Vegas, we did the 10-year anniversary, 2012, and we stayed awake for 50 hours for signing and sketching, and we raised funds. We are going to try for the third time to raise even more and break that record of 50 hours to make it 51 hours. But we'll see if Chandler and Desert Wind can work on it for us. But we've since then worked with many infant cancer fund charities, but specifically to St. Jude's. God bless them, and the money we've raised for them is very important. And anytime St. Jude's needs help, we're there for them.
That's really nice. How long have you been working with them?
Specifically since that second fundraiser in 2012, but we didn't know at that time we would be working with St. Jude's, but they are geared towards infant cancer charities, because unfortunately the main charity of cancer, the cancer charity itself, does not specify infantile cancer. So since our niece was so young, we feel it's an underfunded section of that charity. We feel the need to help out. So St. Jude's has been asking us what we specifically wanted, and we're trying to direct it towards children's cancer.
I'm going to put a link in our show notes and also on my Slack channel if people want to donate. Anything else you want to add, sir?
I'm so happy to be in Hawaii. I can't imagine people being sweeter than I've ever met, and that's the pleasure of being here. It's not just a beautiful place, it's a beautiful bunch of people. Aloha and mahalo.
And he's never been fed so much in his life.
John, it's been an honor and a privilege to interview. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Thank you, guys. Aloha. Aloha, guys. This is Jason from Hawaii. I'm at Comic-Con Honolulu with local artist Todd Bernardi. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Todd, how's the con going for you so far?
It's wonderful. I'm having a great time. I always have a really good time. I've done this every year that they've had it. I've had it, and they've had it for 5 years now. They do I even did the short promotional back when it was like HokuCon.
Oh yeah,
So they just did like a single day sort of event, and I even flew over from Maui for that. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask street credit.
Oh, okay.
What was your first comic book that you read?
The first comic book that I read was Legends of the Dark Knight #1, and it came out right after the Batman movie. The first comic book that I ever got, though, I was 3 years old, and I couldn't read it, but I loved it anyway. And it was Superman number 16 by Carl Kessel and John Byrne. And so my first couple of comic books were DC books, and then when Image came out in 1994, I think I started with Spawn 23, and then subsequently went and got all the back issues. So I was really into Savage Dragon and Spawn, and then I got into weirder, darker stuff. When I was 11, my parents wouldn't let me see The Crow with Brandon Lee, but they bought me the graphic novel, which was just kind of worse. So, but I basically learned to read so that I could read comics. Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds like it's like how all of us started, looking at pictures, and then that's how we learned how to read. Yeah. Do you have any favorite current titles that you're reading right now?
Yeah, I'm reading Ascender by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. I'm reading Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan, and I've been into Saga since it came out too. So those are kind of like the big three for me. And then I pick up interesting indie books that are like, whatever. They're usually just miniseries, like 4 to 6 issues. Kind of reading Weatherman a little bit right now. I think Nathan Fox is the guy that's drawing that. There's a couple of different ones.
That's right. Yeah. And then I'm asked. So, what made you decide that you wanted to be an artist, a comic book artist?
I always drew. I always felt inspired by other comic books. So I was collecting Superman, Batman, and then other superhero titles. And if the artwork was good, I'd feel inspired and I'd want to draw some other stuff. I remember being a little disappointed that I couldn't buy Spawn and another comic book, and having to choose between, comics. So I was like, should I get Batman this week? Should I get Spawn? And I remember choosing to get only one comic and having to draw the other one. So that was sort of the way that I sort of fell into drawing my own comics. And right around I was 8 years old when I drew my first full-length comic. And then I was like, and I finished it, and I was like, I got to redraw it. And so it was growing up. It was a process of me drawing dark gothic superhero type comics and redrawing it. So the most I think I ever drew for a series was a full 2 issues, and then I'd be like, I got to redraw the first issue because, And so I was taking a lot of art classes, and I was learning a lot of technique, and that and the way that I evolved as an artist, I was sort of always trying to redraw something. So I didn't get very far until I was an adult, and after I got my fine arts degree from the University of New Mexico.
So, Todd, I'm sorry, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. You're born and raised here?
I moved here 8 years ago. My wife is from here. So the reason that the comic book is set here is basically because I wanted to kind of create something, work with my wife on something. She's a graphic designer. And so I came up with the premise, and I did a bunch of research. And the comic is so dense because I did too much research. I didn't really know very much about Hawaii before when I started it, and so I found all of these awesome resources, histories and books on Hawaiian mythology, and read them all. And I didn't stop. And so the reason that the comic is 12 issues long is because I just have too many notes, too much information.
And then your comic books, please clarify me or correct me. You're the writer and the artist, right?
Yeah, I'm the writer and the artist. I lettered 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 with my wife. And my wife pretty much lettered the first 3 by herself. She came up with the logo. So I do a comic book called Kukui Project, which is set in Hawaii in the future. and Hawaii's become a kingdom again, and they've got their own space program. And the story follows an astronaut who has to disable dangerous explosives and other weapons in orbit around Earth and on the moon. It takes place at a time when the human race is colonizing the solar system, and they're weaponizing their research facilities against one another, and the governments involved in the conflict call a ceasefire, and they recruit astronauts from the private space industry in Hawaii to disable these weapons. And it's called Kukui. They get nicknamed Kukui, or Kukui Project, because it's nuts to do something like that. And then I do another...
That's a good title. That I like that. I like that meaning, yeah.
And so I got and I do another mini-series called Disco Thunder Groove Bone, and it's about two guys looking for the last coffee plant on Earth, because the world's coffee supply has been wiped out by a blight, and the blight was engineered by an energy drink company called Thunder Chicken, and Thunder Chicken is owned by a giant half-man, half-chicken, half-Mexican wrestler. And that's the fourth issue is double-sized, so it's really 5 issues.
And then, where can people, like people on the mainland, around the world, where can they, buy your comic? Whether it's on the internet or even at comic book stores? I'm in a variety of different comic book stores in Hawaii and on the mainland. Comic book stores in Oregon, California, New Mexico, Colorado. Did I say California? I think. Texas, Oklahoma. There's a shop in Seattle too. I had shops in New Zealand, like 3 shops in New Zealand. And you can buy it online at kukuiproject.com. And then these comic shops that literally it's around the world. Like you said, it was in New Zealand. Have you done any? Have you been to any of those comic shops to be doing any signings?
I did a signing in New Mexico at Astro Zombies in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've done signings at Maui Comics and Collectibles. I've done signings here on Oahu at Other Realms. And it's always a great thing. We usually try to do at least something for Free Comic Book Day on Maui, because that's where I live. The signings are great. The conventions are great. I've never done I didn't do a signing in New Zealand, but I went down there for a comic convention. And I've also gotten the first 6 issues of Kukui Project translated into Japanese. And
then someone just held it up, the Japanese version. That's nice. And who's this gentleman here on your side?
This is my buddy EJ.
Hey.
Hi, nice to meet you.
He actually bought the comic book, and we just started talking, and so we became friends through conventions and stuff.
Let's see. And then is this now correct me if I'm wrong, this is a full-time job for you?
Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. It's pretty intensive work, because I do all the research myself. I look for references. I try to make sure that the information that I put in Kukui Project for sure is accurate to the history and mythology of Hawaii. I try not to, and there's also a lot of science in Kukui Project that's accurate too. It's not 100% fictional. I try to, and it's all stuff that has to do with renewable resources and things that I'm kind of frustrated that we're not more popular right now.
All right. Now I know you say you live on Maui. You're in Maui. You done signing for Maui's Comics and Collectibles. You want to give them a shout out?
No.
All right. That we end the interview now. Thank you guys. No. I know we're just harassing around. Alika, we're joking. Please keep Todd on the nerd watch.
Yeah. So the Maui Comics and Collectibles is great. Every time I go in there, there's stuff that I can't find on the internet that Alika has. I try to get, for instance, I went in there looking for the kitchen sink reprint of the 1953 Spirit, and he actually had it. I couldn't even find it on the internet, and he was like, "Oh, I got that for you." I've gotten some awesome heavy metals from him. from like the early 80s and late 70s. He's always got something really collectible, and he's got an incredible selection of new comics too. And so we record a podcast together with a bunch of other locals that are in the greater nerd community, and called Nerd Watch, and we just we have a really good time.
Okay, we know you and Alika are on the Nerd Watch. Who else is on the Nerd Watch, and who's your host on the Nerd Watch?
Oh man, the host. God, I don't even want to talk about that guy. The host is G Money, and he's all right. You know, he's definitely not the. He's not everybody's favorite. He's an acquired taste. Then there's Alika. Then there's Gannon. Their format talks about video games. Gannon does movie reviews, specifically around the horror genre. There's Aaron Medeiros. He's a local film critic. He does film reviews. Barry Wurst also is one of the originators of the Nerd Watch. He's we call him Professor Barrick. He's got a master's in film studies, and he's a professional film critic as well. And then we have Cynthia Rose. She's
Night Darling, right?
Well, Night Darling. Yeah, Night Darling's name. She's a cosplayer. Cynthia is a makeup artist. And so she's got a real inside Hollywood to some of the movies that we review. And then there's Francine Walraven, who is a fantastic tattoo artist, and she also does the posters for Maui Comic-Con. Maui Comic-Con happens at the end of October every year, right before Halloween, and it's a wonderful event. So if you're on Maui, you can check out Maui Comics and hopefully be around for Maui Comic-Con.
Let's promote Maui Comic-Con. I almost forgot about that. I can't remember. It's the last weekend in October. But who's coming down?
I'll be there.
Okay, that's good. You're the guest. You're the main guest.
I'm the main attraction.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm the main attraction. But there's another guy. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's done this little comic book called The Goon.
Never heard.
Yeah, he's this. I think his name's Eric Powell or whatever. No, I actually really admire his work, and I love The Goon. So I can't wait to meet him. And he's kind of a almost indie comics royalty at this point. He's right up there with Stan Sakai, who came to one of our Maui cons, and like Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, the Turtles guys. Like, those guys are amazing.
And then also too, it's Eric Powell's. It's the 25th anniversary of The Goon, and he's doing his whirlwind city tour or something.
Yeah. It's a 20th anniversary, and he's hitting us on his way down to Australia too. So he's doing a big, huge con tour, promoting the Goon.
Okay, I'm going to start wrapping this up. Any comics you want to promote right now? Yours?
Sorry?
Any comics you want to promote?
Well, the thing that I'm going to be working on next is a comic book called Heart Candy Aftermath, and it's more of a children's story. It focuses on a roller derby girl that teams up with a pink unicorn to fight evil. And so that's going to be full color. I've already done an issue of it, so I'm going to reprint the first issue and finish the second issue. And then after that, I'm going to finish Kukui Project and collect that into a big omnibus.
And then where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram at Kukui Project, and I'm on Twitter at TRBURN02, TRBurn02, and Facebook, Todd Bernardi. Send me a friend request.
Todd, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. I can't wait to listen to this later.
Thank you, Todd. Until next time, guys, aloha. Aloha, guys. This is Jason from Hawaii. I'm here at Comic-Con Honolulu with Amy Reeder, the artist on Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Hello, how's it going?
Amy, welcome to the islands. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time you guys have been to the islands, correct?
Yes, it's my first time. And I should say I drew covers for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. The interior artist was Natasha Bustos, and she's awesome. But I also co-wrote it.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. That's right. I'm sorry
That's
about
fine,
that.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
No,
I
yes.
don't want to take so much credit.
Thank I was going to ask, so I'm sorry. So, yeah, you guys like the island so far?
Yeah, it's awesome. I've gotten some time to walk around, but not too much. Like, I just got here. I'm planning more time after the convention, so I can't wait. I'm going to rent a car, drive around, and see what I can see.
That's really nice. How do you like the con so far?
Oh, it's great. People are crazy friendly. I've been gifted, 3 leis, constant food. People are just coming and bearing gifts. It's so strange, but in a good way. Strangers are really friendly, walking around the city and stuff like that. But yeah, the con, they're just wonderful. It's a great group you guys have here. So yeah.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask you a little bit of street cred. What was the first comic book you read?
First comic book was Blue Monday. It's by China Clugston, and it was a drama. It was like a high school drama about a girl who was obsessed with Adamant in the 80s, and it's kind of based on her from when she was in high school, and it's just like kids getting into trouble. It's kind of like Love and Rockets in a little bit, but yeah.
And then when did you decide to become an artist? A writer and artist?
No, that's fine. Mostly I would say I'm known as being an artist. I decided when I was starting to read manga, and there was this contest that Tokyo Pop was putting out, where the top 10 would be compiled into this anthology, and so I don't know, it really lit a fire under me. It made me want to figure out how to draw better so that I could make it in, and eventually I did.
Do you remember your first work? Was it with Tokyo Pop?
My first work? Yeah, it was with Tokyo Pop. They ended up giving me a 3-volume book deal, which is crazy. I was totally inexperienced. They didn't know what they were doing. But yeah, it worked out, and I managed to do okay. I did 2 volumes. They canceled the third because they canceled everybody's books.
Oh, okay.
But by then I was already working for Vertigo doing Madame Xanadu. So yeah.
How long were you on that book?
Probably 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I was the main artist on that book. Yeah.
What are you currently working on right now?
Well, unfortunately I can't say specifically what it is, but I'm writing, drawing, and coloring it, and it's going to be amazing. They'll announce it probably at New York Comic Con.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to start wrapping this up because the convention's already winding down. Where's your next convention appearance?
I'm going to be at New York Comic Con. Besides that, I'm just going to be hunkering down and drawing like the wind.
And then where can people find you on your social platforms?
Mostly at Amy Reeder, or if you don't find that, and Reeder spelled Reeder. And if you can't find me there, then I'm Amy Reeder Comics. Those are my 2 handles.
Amy, thank you very much for your time. Any last words to our fans?
Just thanks for loving comics. You're the reason why we do this. So, woohoo!
Thank you, Amy. Until next time, guys, aloha.
All right.
Aloha, guys. This is Jason from Hawaii. I'm here at Comic-Con Honolulu, and I've saved the best for last. This is legendary writer. Keep laughing.
Legendary is old. Tom DeFalco is legendary. I'm not.
Howard Mackey. Howard, thank you for taking your time. I know we're winding down the convention. How do you guys like Hawaii so far?
We love Hawaii. We came down a week early, spent it on the North Shore, relaxing. Then we spent 4 days at 3 days, I guess, at the show, just meeting lots of fans and having a lot of fun.
Oh, okay. You were here, was it 2 years ago? Was it at this one?
3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then, let's see. How's the con going so far?
The con has been great. I mean, I love meeting fans. I love talking to fans, and I have to say, and no offense to all of the other places I go, the fans in Hawaii are some of the best that I run into. I have people that have come back each day, and I feel like I'm making friends here more than meeting fans.
Thank you very much. And then I take it that we're feeding you well, right, at the convention?
No, I'm pretty sure I've gained a few pounds since I landed. I'm starting to turn food away at this point. So yes, we're eating quite well. I am addicted to poke, and it started 3 years ago. But I will only eat it in Hawaii. None of this mainland stuff.
What are you currently working on, or do you have any upcoming projects you want to promote?
Yeah. Well, I've done a bunch of work recently. I actually have a number of creator-owned things that I'm not ready to release right now, but I have a number of artists that I'm working with. Actually, one possible one with an artist that I reconnected with at this very convention might be coming up. I do have a project in development with Marvel right now. I'm not at liberty to say until the ink is dry, but I'm kind of excited about that. And then I have a couple of other business opportunities, publishing opportunities that I'm working on with a colleague of mine, Terry Kavanaugh, who actually is responsible for the Clone Saga. It was his idea. And he and I have a relatively big project we're working on together.
Okay. All right. I mean, we'll look for your upcoming projects from Marvel in the previous catalog. Yep. And I know this is going to sound weird, and I'm not blowing smoke at you, but when you release it, man, I'll be buying a bunch, and you got to come back because I want you to sign a stack, not just 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I want you. No.
you got it. I have told them, you invite me to Hawaii, and my wife and I were there in a heartbeat. This is one of our favorite places on earth.
Okay, thank you. Where can fans follow you on social media?
I'm primarily on Facebook, and I'm Howard Mackey Writer. I have another personal account that I almost never go to at all, and I try to keep that small for friends and family. All I do on Howard Mackey Writer on Facebook is talk comic books. I promote my own work. I answer questions. People have questions, they can personal message me, and I'll answer questions. I'll put it public, and so people can chime in. But I love interacting with fans on that page as well.
I'll make sure we post it on our Slack page channel, your Facebook address.
Thank you.
And then, when's your next convention appearance?
The very next one is in, I believe, the 2 upcoming ones are New York Comic Con and then Baltimore Comic Con. I think that's the order in which they appear. So, and those are both the beginning of October. So I have a little bit time to relax between now and then.
All right. Any last words to our fans?
No, I mean, mahalo. We absolutely love it here. I could not enjoy coming to Hawaii more. Thank you.
Howard, thank you for your time, and just thank you very much for coming down. And every time, and I'm one of those that came every day to your table, and
yes, you are
always
one of those I consider a friend now.
Thank you very much. But Howard, the next time you come down, I'll check in with you. Can we do a follow-up interview if the timing's right and everything?
Oh, absolutely, anytime. Thank you very much.
Howard, thank you very much.
Okay, take care, everyone. Aloha.
Thanks, guys. Aloha. Aloha, guys. This is Jason from Hawaii. Literally, we are closing down Comic-Con Honolulu. I have a very special guest, Mr. Chandler Rice. Chandler, welcome to Hawaii.
Well, thank you very much, and aloha, mahalo. All the wonderful words that go to express our enthusiasm for being here. Coming from the mainland, coming out to this beautiful, beautiful land is such a delight, and thank you for having us.
It's just Chandler, thank you very much. And before we continue, again, thank you very much for letting me interview John Romita Jr. Just thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You know, John is such a gracious and humble individual. You consider what he has done in this business. You consider the volume of work that he has done and the people that he's worked with. And I know that he feels sometimes uncomfortable being given that label of a legend. And maybe part of it is because his father is a legend, and it's hard for him to accept that same label as his father. But John, without a doubt, is one of those. He is an A-lister when it comes to comic books and comic book shows and everything else. He is an utter superstar.
No, yes, you're right. You're really right. How long have you known John?
John and I actually met for the first time, I want to say it was around 2005, if I remember correctly. It was a Wizard World show in Chicago. And it was funny because I'd only been back into comics since 2000. Okay. Yeah, like everyone, I'm 57, and like everyone, I grew up reading comics as a kid, and I think like most boys, I hit those teenage years, and suddenly I discovered, not necessarily in this order, but baseball, girls, and motorcycles, and suddenly comics became something less important to me. Also, being that I lived in Southern California, where we had lots of sunshine, so what it came down to is I kind of fell away from comics as I got older, and didn't really get back into it until it was the year 2000 and the X-Men movie had come out. And my wife and we had gone to the movie theater, and as we were coming out of the movie theater, and I'm sitting there watching this movie, and I'm remembering all these wonderful characters. And as we were walking down in the lobby, a local shop owner had a table set up, and he had a spread of books and everything. So I stopped and I talked to him, and I was looking at him, and I kind of like, this, I remember these days. I remember these characters. They were wonderful, wonderful characters. And so basically he invited me to come out to his shop. Next thing I know, started buying a few books, started buying a few more, a lot more, and a heck of a lot more at that point. It was probably about 3 years later I discovered the CGC process, getting the book signed and graded. To me, getting a book signed is the ultimate personalization. Even if it doesn't have my name on it, just having it signed by the creator to me is very personal. And, I will simply say kind of the rest is history.
And I'm going to ask, that history part is you and your wife Sharon, is that correct?
That's correct.
You guys have a comic book shop, correct?
Well, yeah. Basically, I started getting my books signed in 2003 using CGC, and it was in 2007 that I met Stan Lee. And Stan came to Las Vegas, and it was at that point I had actually been trying to become part of the CGC Witness program, as they call it, for a signature series. And they kept saying, we'll think about it. And ultimately, what happened was I called them up in 2007 and said, hey, Stan Lee's coming to Las Vegas. I need you guys to send us a witness. And they go, well, you're the witness. and I kind of laughed because, as I say, that was when CGC opened up the barn door and let the monster out, the monster being me. And Sharon and I, we had actually, prior to that, for a couple of years, we had been going to 3 or 4 shows around the country. We were going to a show in Orlando called MegaCon. We were going to a show in Pittsburgh, which was Pittsburgh Comic Con, and a few other shows. And and it was funny because it was right around the time of meeting Stan that Sharon says to me, she goes, Chandler, we need to find a way to pay for traveling in these shows, because I was getting my stuff signed, but I wasn't selling my stuff. I was keeping it for myself. And so I said, I basically just looked at her, I said, so you want me to monetize this? You want me to turn this into a business? She goes, well, if you want us to continue going to shows, I think we have no choice. I said, okay, which was kind of right in my wheelhouse, as I would say. And at that point, being that we had met Stan and we started working with him, we started setting up signings with Stan, and next thing you know, we started booking Stan into shows. and we were running his signings. We were the ones that basically booked and ran shows for Stan from 2008 all the way to, actually technically 2009 all the way to 2013, 14. And that's how we got into the whole CGC business. That was our company, which is our core company, Desert Wind Comics. In 2013, we had two gentlemen in Las Vegas who approached us, and they wanted to start a store, and they wanted to use our brand and our access to comic creators. So they asked us to come in as a partner, a 1/3 partner. We talked about it, and we said, okay, well, we can, but we really can't. We can't be involved all that much, only because we don't have time. Because back in 2013, as a matter of fact, we did 39 shows that year. Yeah, so we were on the road. We averaged three to four shows a month, and we had maybe one weekend off in a month, and that was it. But so we basically said, we don't have time to run a shop. They said, we don't need you to run the shop. We want to be able to utilize your band. So, okay, great. Well, without going into the whole story, ultimately Sharon and I ended up getting the whole shop. We ended up buying out one of the partners, and then the other partner we ended up having to buy out. And next thing we know, we started with 1/3, and we ended up with the whole thing. And that's how we end up with Celestial Comics. So we have our shop, Celestial Comics.
Where are you guys located?
We are located in Summerlin in Las Vegas, Nevada. Specifically Village Square at 9440 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 170. We're about 20 minutes west of the Las Vegas Strip. And, Celestial Comics, we have a wide variety of books. We obviously specialize, being our specialty is graded books, we specialize in signed graded books. So people will walk into our store and they're going to see stuff signed by Stan Lee. They're going to see stuff signed by Joe Simon, the co-creator of Captain America. They're going to see stuff signed by John Romita Sr., John Romita Jr., Fortunately, knocking on wood, we obviously have access to a lot of wonderful, wonderful creators, both past and present. And so that's what we have with our shop. And we also have our convention in Las Vegas called Great American Comic-Con that takes place. It's coming up this year. It's November 16th and 17th. And then I have a management company where I manage comic creators like John Romita Jr. And I work with people like John, other people I've worked with that we're actually going to be with next weekend, Chris Claremont and Roy Thomas, and I mean it's a list of about 30 to 40 different creators that we work with. Most of them are the old school guys.
And before I continue on, the next weekend we're talking about Terrificon in
Connecticut.
Yes, Unkinsville, Connecticut.
Yeah, it's the Mohegan Sun. Yeah. It's Mohegan Sun Casino. And as far as the name of the town, I don't know. It's somewhere in the middle of Connecticut somewhere. But we'll be there next weekend, and then the weekend after that, we're going to be in Albuquerque for the New Mexico Comic Expo is where we're going to be, and we're going to be there with Chris and also Roy Thomas and several other creators. So that's our schedule for November. I'm sorry, for August.
And then I'm going to continue on because you guys mentioned you guys have a convention in November.
That's correct.
May I ask your guest list for that convention so far?
Well, so far we have Mark Bagley, we have David Michelini, we have Clayton Crane, we have Al Milgram, we have Scott Hanna, and we have Kevin Van Hook, who's the co-creator of Bloodshot, which, they have the Bloodshot movie coming out next year with Vin Diesel. So we'll have Kevin at the show, who's going to be able to talk about, obviously, the movie coming out, and who, we're working on some other surprises. But those are the 6 main guests that we have announced at this time.
Now, before we did the interview, we talked about the convention you guys have in Vegas. What makes you guys different than other conventions?
First off, Vegas is a go-to location, just like Hawaii is, so we have that advantage. Honestly, the biggest thing is that we're a comic book show. We're comic book centric. I'm not going to bring celebrities out. I will only entertain, and I use the word entertain, the thought of bringing a celebrity under the following conditions. One, what they charge is below a certain amount. I don't want a celebrity that's going to charge $50, $75, $100, because you know what? That doesn't help everyone else in the show. To me, $30 to $40 is about the maximum that I'm comfortable with. Also, the celebrity absolutely has to be connected to a comic book character. Having voiceover actors who have nothing to do with comic books. I'm sorry. What does that have to do with a comic book? What does that have to do with a Comic-Con? Unfortunately, you've seen a lot of conventions these days starting to move in that direction, and basically that's a money grab, is what it is. And I don't fault the promoters. I really do not. I don't fault the promoters for that. Sharon and I, we try to stay true to what a Comic-Con is, and that's why when you look at our guest list is filled with comic book creators. Last year we had Tom DeFalco, we had Kelly Jones, we had Alan Bellman, we had Randy Eberling. I mean, that was we had about 15 guests, and those were just a few of them that we named. So, again, so to answer your question, what makes us different? We are comic centric.
And that's how, and it's great that how you guys have your convention set up is, like he says, all comic book focused, comic book related. Other comic book conventions like Comic-Con Honolulu, they run theirs in a different way, and that's fine. It's all good. That's all it is. Everyone's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately what it is you have fans out there, whether it's comic books, whether it's manga, whether it's whether it's the TV shows, it's entertainment. Whether it's the written entertainment, the visual entertainment, whatever you want to say, and it's a place for people to gather. One of the things that I get the biggest kick out of, and I saw that happen again this weekend, is having people, having John Romita Jr. here at the show. He was here in Hawaii back in 2015. And so we had fans walking up saying, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you since 2015. It's so great." And John very much enjoyed the interaction with those fans, and many of those fans he remembered. Yeah, there were fans that he remembered, and John was here back in the early 90s as well, and I think he was here, I want to say mid 80s, and there were people that came up to him and he remembers them from those signings, or the fans remembered John. They started talking about things, and suddenly it jogged John's memory, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's you?" That's 30 years later. So that's actually one of the fun parts for me, is seeing the fans. Just like I saw fans here that I've seen all across the country. I saw fans here that I've seen at other shows. That to me, that's a fun thing, because there's a special bond that kind of gets developed as a result of that. When you have people that travel around the country and they travel in these circles, whether it's the vendors or whether it's the fans or whether it's the creators. I've been fortunate enough, knock on wood, that I've created some wonderful, wonderful relationships with some absolutely super, super people. And I very much cherish that. The traveling, okay, the traveling's okay. It gets to a point where it gets a little old, to be honest. But still.
Sorry, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get your cars ready to rumble.
We're doing the Monster Truck Show right now.
So, just at this point, it's for us. We love the shows. We love the people. That's what makes this all worthwhile for us.
All right, I'm going to start wrapping this up. You said you have like a YouTube podcast. What's it called?
It's called Las Vegas Geeked Out. Okay. And I have 3 co-hosts with me. I have Quincy. I have Free, and Free is actually very well known here in the islands. Free Isabello. Yeah, Free Isabello is one of my co-hosts with me. He and Quincy bring the artist aspect of the conversation. We're also very blessed that we added earlier this year our female co-host, which is Megan Fisher. And Megan, she's actually a member of the Walking Dead cast. She is actually one of the Whisperers on The Walking Dead. And so we have a good time. Megan, she's also she enjoys comic books and Comic Cons. She's a big cosplayer. She loves cosplay. And so we have a lot of fun. We talk about comics, we talk about movies and TV, and we just talk about good old-fashioned geekery in general. So our show takes place on Wednesdays. You can find us on the YouTube network, and more specifically, look for us on the DefTal, DEFTAL TV channel, and that's where you're going to find us at. And you'll see us talking about all kinds of things. And one of the more memorable ones that we did recently is we actually did a show that revolved around WrestleMania. Okay. And because WrestleMania is, to a certain degree, a geekery event. Yeah. And we had a lot of fun. I dressed up as Hulk Hogan. I did my impersonation of Hulk Hogan. Free did his impersonation of Randy Savage, and we were just having a lot of fun talking about the wrestling matches and the whole bit. I used to wrestle back in high school and college, so I kind of have that attachment to it. And but again, it was fun that we had with the show. It was entertaining. It was a way to just kind of let loose a little bit and get wild and crazy. Yeah. So we've been known to do that on our show, and like I said, we bring. I guess because of what I do, I'm able to bring some content to the show that makes it different from a lot of shows because of, I guess you'd say, somewhat my inside information. Probably one of the more memorable ones we did was when we talked about Stan Lee. Okay. It was right after the loss of Stan Lee, and needless to say, spending as much time as we did on the road with Stan from 2008 to 2013, and it was a crazy show. And that's Stan Reverend right now. That's Stan letting us know he's still watching us.
Yes, he still is. He's still going, Excelsior!
Exactly. That's just in the Rumble. Yeah. So, but that's what our show's about.
Okay. I'm going to start wrapping up one more. I want to cover one thing. You guys have a Superman Year One exclusive cover. Can I just ask how that came about and where can people find it again?
As far as where it came about, obviously I've been aware of the Superman Year One project, being involved with John from when he first started on it. I remember I was with him. I think it was C2E2 a year and a half ago when DC first announced it, and John was there. Obviously being involved with John, there are times where I sometimes act as his cheerleader. I sometimes act as his counselor. He'll sit there. There are times where he'll need to like bang his head against the wall in a verbal way, and so I give him a sounding board. But one of the things we talked about was how DC they've kept a very tight hold on this project. This is one that DC has put a lot of attention into. They've considered it one of their biggest projects ever, and so part of what's going on is they released the regular John Romita Jr. cover. They released the regular Frank Miller cover, and that was it. They weren't going to do any store variants. They weren't going to do anything like that. They weren't going to do any DC variants. And so what I did was I went to John and said, John, I think this would be a great way for us to, because we were talking about San Diego and the shows such as Hawaii coming up and the whole bit. And I said, I think we need to get a variant for the shows, doing the conventions. And he says, well, see what you can do. So I went to D.C. and I chatted with them. At first they were kind of, well, we don't know. And I said, come on, this is John Jr. This is going to be his exclusive variant. Yeah. And at that point, let's just say I twisted enough arms that they said, okay, we're going to do this. So John drew the cover. It was very quick. We did not have much time to put it together, and it was based on an idea that John and I sat down and discussed briefly over the phone. and we put it together. It was printed, came out when the regular books came out in the middle of June. It wasn't officially available until San Diego, and then after San Diego, we brought it here, and the fans were loving it. And as far as where you can get it, I know that there are some retailers here. I want to say it was. Enjoy Comics over on the Big Island.
Oh yes.
Okay, he grabbed some extra copies, and then also Other Realms grabbed some extra copies.
Yes.
And so, if you happen to shop at either one of those shops, go in right away because there's only going to be a limited number of them available. Otherwise, look for them through Desert Wind on either eBay or through our web store, which is desertwindenterprises.com.
And then just real quickly, guys, I bought an exclusive cover here. I'll post it on the Slack channel. I'm trying to wrap this up. Are you guys planning to come back next year?
We'd love to.
Okay.
I mean, let's face it, any excuse to come to Hawaii is a good one.
Yes, that's true.
Last year we brought Roy Thomas, we brought Billy Tucci, we brought Terry Moore. This year we brought John, we brought Tom Grummett, we brought Lucho Perello, as well as Carla Cohen. We'll see what happens for next year. Yeah. I know John said he'd loved coming back at some point.
Yeah.
So and who else we bring, we'll see. But I think I feel pretty comfortable saying you'll see Desert Wind coming back, and you'll see Desert Wind bringing some absolutely wonderful legends with them.
Any last word to our listeners?
You know what, guys? This is just a wonderful, wonderful industry, and it doesn't make any difference why you read, just as long as you read, and it's something that you do for yourself. It allows your imagination to go. It allows you to be an individual. Whether you're into zombies, whether you're into superheroes, whether you're into romance, makes no difference. There's content out there to read, but just remember this: you have shops out there. These shop owners rely on you guys. They rely on you to come into the shops, let them know what you like, let them know what you love, and let them know what you want, and continue to support the shops. And by supporting the shops, you're supporting these wonderful creators who are just giving you some absolutely unbelievable art, whether it's the written word or whether it's the visual imagery. But it is something that we have to treat it like an American heritage. It is an American art form. We have to treat it like an American heritage, and we can't let it die. So support it however you can.
One last time, where can our listeners find you guys on social media?
Find us on Desert Wind Comics. Find us on Celestial Comics. I have my personal page, Chandler Rice. You'll find Las Vegas Geeked Out is going to be all that is on Facebook. You'll find John on Instagram, and you'll also find John on Twitter. And so if you have any questions, you can always email me, chandler@desertwindcomics.com. And otherwise, reach out to me on Facebook. Be more than happy to talk to you.
Chandler, one last thing I want to say. I want to give you a big mahalo to you and Sharon. Thank you very much again for letting me interview John. And I'm giving a big shout out to Sharon because Sharon was the one that, I showed her my resume and she's like, yep, no problem. We'll work it out. We'll work out the interview. And again, just Chandler, I'm shaking your hand, man.
No, you're
just
quite
thank
welcome.
you. Just thank you.
Again, the people here are wonderful, and it was funny because I was just looking down at the table and I forgot to mention this. You talk about rekindling friendships and stuff, and one of the friendships that was rekindled here at the show was a gentleman that walked up to John, and this gentleman was he's part of Homeland Security. Originally was U.S. Customs, and he interacted with John. Well, basically my history, and I'm not going to go into all of it, but I used to be in the law enforcement field back in the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s, and he and I started chatting and stuff, and next thing I know, he presents to me, as he comes over and talks to me some more, he presents to me this very special coin, which is referred to as a challenge coin, and it's something that is very unique and very special, that it has to do with the military and law enforcement, and running across people like that, again, makes this all worthwhile. and knowing that they're comic fans, and at the same time you have people of all shapes, sizes, professions, and what it comes down to is we're all just, you know what, we're all one color human beings. And that's what this means to me, and that's what all I'd say to everyone is just remember that there is no color other than just us being human beings. So be good to each other.
Chandler, thank you very much. I'm going to close this up. Again, thank you for your time. Like I said, as you can hear, they're literally breaking down tables. But Chandler, thank you very much. Until next time, guys, aloha. I hope everyone enjoyed listening to the interviews. I had a lot of fun interviewing the writers and artists at the 2019 Comic-Con Honolulu. Some quick notes from the John Romita Jr. interview. I interviewed John on the last day of the convention, and that was Sunday, August 4th, 2019. And as John had mentioned, in the interview, that that's a very special day for him and his wife, Kathy. That's the day they celebrated the 25th anniversary of the first time they met at San Diego Comic-Con. And it's pretty awesome that in 2019 that they're celebrating the 25th anniversary here at Comic-Con Honolulu. So that's pretty awesome. So congratulations, John and Kathy. Also, during the interview, John had mentioned that from time to time that they work with St. Jude's, and that's the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. If you want to donate to this worthy cause, and I'm going to be donating some money as well, their website is stjudes.org, and the link is going to be in the show notes. Now, this portion of the podcast, I'm going to be giving a lot of thank yous, so please bear with me on this. First off, I know to some people it's going to sound weird, but I just want to thank God. I just want to thank God for letting me meet these writers and artists, and that I've enjoyed their works over the years of reading their comics and so forth. So, that it's pretty awesome to meet them. It really was. I just want to thank God for that. I want to thank my wife, Dawn. Dawn, thank you very much for supporting me in this, for letting me do this crazy expensive hobby. So thank you very much, Dawn. I want to thank my good friends, John Mayo and Drew. Thank you very much, guys. John is the host of the host or co-host of the Comic Book Page podcast, specifically the weekly comics Spotlight. And if you are a new listener to the Comic Book Page podcast, please check out John's weekly comic book reviews with his co-host James Rayner on the weekly comic Spotlight. New episodes are released every Monday. What they do is spoiler-free reviews of 3 comics, one from DC, one from Marvel, and at least one other. So please check out their episodes. And again, I'm going to thank John. John, thank you very much for letting me contribute to your podcast and putting these episodes together. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Drew, my good friend Drew. Thank you very much. For putting these episodes together as well too for his podcast, Comics for Fun and Profit. And if you are a new listener to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast, Drew and his brother Kyle, they release new episodes every Saturday, and their focus is on comic book speculations on new comics that are coming out every Wednesday. So if you guys get a chance, please check that episode, that podcast, and also John's podcast as well too. I want to give a very big shout out to my new manager, Cheryl Fallon. Cheryl, thank you very much. Long story short, guys, earlier this year I transferred departments. Cheryl honored my pre-approved vacation from my old department. So Cheryl, thank you very much for honoring my vacation requests. Thank you very much.
I also want to give a big thank you to Amy Tokuda. I see Amy at these conventions every so often. We talk story and stuff like that. Amy was a big help at this convention. She told me, who to talk to arrange the interview with John Romita Jr. So, Amy, thank you very much. I also want to thank Chandler and Sharon Rice of Desert Winds Comics and Collectibles. Chandler and Sharon, thank you very much, guys. And I also want to thank the creators, that came to this convention. I want to give a big shout out, thank you to Tom DeFalco and his wife, Hildy. They were great. They're very nice, very humble couple. So they're really nice. I want to thank Howard Mackey, Agnes Garbowska, Mark Brooks, Amy Reeder, local writer, artist Todd Bernardi. And I want to give a big thank you to John Romita Jr. He was very patient, very gracious with his time. So thank you, John, very much. And I want to give a very big thank you to you, the listeners. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys. Aloha.